Well, with that, let's also tell you how the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. I'm not saying this. This is ancient Chinese strategist and author Sun Tzu, who's written it in his book, The Art of War, 2,500 years ago. Today, these words exactly describe what Iran is doing to the United States. On the 28th of February this year, Washington would have dismissed this as impossible. But today, many believe that Iran and not America is setting the rules of this war. For decades, remember, the United States defined the battlefield in West Asia. American aircraft carriers moved, governments reacted. American sanctions hit and economies trembled. It was the American presidents who drew the red lines and allies lined up behind them. But today, that has changed. Has Iran succeeded in forcing the United States to fight on Iran's terms? Is Iran playing Donald Trump? Well, let's quickly show you what the United States has been saying since the last few days. On the 27th of May, US President Donald Trump did not give a clear answer when he was asked about the deal or the time frame to end the war. In fact, he even called Iran a crafty negotiator.
Is there a line that they would cross for you to go on the offensive again militarily?
Well, a deal that wasn't going to be good for us is the line, ultimately, because, I'm playing it out and we're going to see, and that's what I do. I negotiate, they negotiate. They're very good negotiators. They're crafty. But in the end, we have all the cards because we've defeated them militarily. Well, I think we're doing very well. I think they're starting to give us the things that they have to give us. And if they do, that's great. And if they won't, then the man on my left is going to finish them off.
Meanwhile, Iran has said that it is taking time to sign the peace deal because they want to make sure that everything is in line with their interests.
About what the actions of Americans and what they are saying. What matters to us are the official messages we receive. And naturally, Iran will not accept anything that is not in line with our interests and those of our country. And this is the reason it is taking a few days to make sure everything is in line with our interests.
Meanwhile, on Thursday, Vice President J.D. Vance did not look very optimistic about Iran's nuclear weapons stance. He said that there are a couple of issues regarding the nuclear stuff, and we're going back and forth with them on that. Listen into what he said.
If you look at what we've already accomplished here, assuming that we're able to get to a final agreement here, we're reopening the Straits of Hormuz. We've already decimated their conventional military, and we're in a position where we could substantially set back their nuclear program, not just during the term of this president, but over the long term. That's a very, very good thing for the American people. So we're not there yet, but we're very close, and we're going to keep on working at it.
Now, Vance's statement, remember, comes days after President Trump seemed to have toned down his rhetoric against Iran and posted a post on his Truth Social where he said, and I quote him, "The enriched uranium, nuclear dust will either be immediately turned over to the United States or preferably in conjunction and coordination with the Islamic Republic of Iran." He said this a few days ago, and he said this today as well. A suggestion of a coordinated framework instead of threats and abuses. The Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, meanwhile, has been giving motivational speeches to the military despite the U.S. struggling to end the stalemate with Iran.
And as the president said, I'm lost on time, 2 days ago now, in the cabinet meeting, I'm sitting right next to him. He looks in the camera, he says, well, Iran can either do it the right way, with a deal across the table, or they can deal with my guy on the left. That happened to be me. But it's not me, it's you guys.
Now, the Strait of Hormuz still remains under Iranian control, even though America says that it is owned by nobody. In fact, Iran has renamed its toll to environmental cess. Multiple reports suggest that Iran is demanding $24 billion from the United States in exchange for reopening the Hormuz. Let's look at the battlefield too. The United States entered this war believing that its overwhelming military superiority would deter any escalation. Washington and its allies expected air superiority, strategic intimidation, and economic isolation to force Iran into retreat. Instead, the conflict expanded because Iran appears to understand something very critical in this war. that America's greatest vulnerability may not be military weakness, it may be strategic exhaustion. Iran cannot destroy the United States militarily, and Tehran knows that. But here's the interesting bit. Iran may not even need to do that. Its strategy appears built around something much more realistic, making the cost of confrontation politically, economically, and globally unbearable. Look at the Strait of Hormuz. One narrow waterway, nearly a fifth of the global oil flows through it. And every time tensions rise there, markets react instantly. Oil prices move and shipping insurers panic. Governments from Europe till Asia start making emergency calculations, and suddenly a regional war once again becomes a global economic crisis. That is leverage. And Iran understands this leverage. Tehran believes time favors endurance, not dominance. And that creates a very dangerous equation for Washington. Donald Trump demands visible results. The Iranian leadership, meanwhile, is known to tolerate long-term pain. And this difference matters enormously in this war. Now consider another example. Every escalation by the United States risks widening the war. We've seen that in Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Qatar, and the UAE. American bases across the region suddenly become vulnerable pressure points. Military planners must calculate multiple fronts simultaneously. It uses up more time, more resources, and the cost rises. This is not a story of American defeat, because Iran has also suffered enormously in this war. Its economy remains under severe sanctions. Its infrastructure has been damaged. But for years, America operated in a largely unipolar environment, one that it created for its own dominance. But now, rivals and adversaries increasingly believe that American power has its limits. Iran often frames the conflict not as a military contest alone, but as resistance against American pressure. Iran's leadership understands that perception itself can become a weapon. And multiple countries today question whether the United States is a reliable partner or not. So while America may still dominate in raw military capability, Iran has dominated strategy of the traditional battlefield. Iran has proven strategist Sun Tzu's words right, that the art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Even as a ceasefire remains formally in force in Gaza as well as in Lebanon, Israel is on the offensive. It has escalated the war in Lebanon by launching a deadly strike near Beirut. On the other hand, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has ordered a further territorial grab of Gaza. Addressing an event in West Bank, Prime Minister Netanyahu revealed that he had instructed the IDF to seize 70% of the Gaza Strip, up from the 60% that it controls as of now. This is in clear defiance of the US brokered ceasefire, which mandated IDF forces to withdraw to the yellow line that encompasses 53% of Gaza.
We are currently squeezing Hamas. We now control 60% of the territory of the Gaza Strip. You know that. We were at 50, we moved to 60, and my directive is to move to, go in order, first 70%. Let's start with that. We squeeze them from all sides. We will deal with what's left.
While visiting IDF troops in a border area, Netanyahu revealed that Israeli forces have crossed southern Lebanon's Litani River and they're operating in Beirut as well as Bekaa.
From here, the battle against Hezbollah in the north is being managed. And I must tell you that there are very impressive results here. Our forces have crossed the Litani. They have moved up to the commanding terrain.
Well, the IDF also announced the killing of Hamas's deputy commander, Imad Hassan Hussein Aslim, who allegedly led the group's fighters who crossed over into Israel during the October 7th massacre. Meanwhile, in a fresh escalation, an Israeli strike hit a building in Gaza City's Shati refugee camp. However, no injuries were reported as residents moved out of the area after receiving a warning. Now, the city of Khan Yunis also came under fire. Flames engulfed a warehouse after being struck in an Israeli strike. Visuals showed civil defense workers struggling to put out the fire. As the Israeli onslaught continues, displaced Palestinians express their anger at Netanyahu's target to control 70% of Gaza.
When he occupies 70%, where do we go? When we were displaced to the sea, he took all of the Gaza Strip. Does this mean he's going to take it again? 70%? Where do we go? To the water? To the sea? There is no space. Where are we to go? Where do we flee to? This is an unjust decision.
As per reports, the death toll in Gaza has risen to 72,819, while over 172,000 others have been injured. Since the October ceasefire itself, 922 people have been killed by Israeli aggression. Moving on to Lebanon, the situation remains dire there. The IDF has claimed to have eliminated over 2,500 fighters allegedly belonging to Hezbollah since the 2nd of March, when Israel began its war. As per the United Nations, 11 children have been injured or killed on an average every 24 hours in Lebanon over the last week.
Okay. I'm waiting now.
As the Israeli strikes continued unabated, visuals showed smoke billowing from a locality in southern Lebanon. Now, the war saw major escalation. An Israeli strike hit a building in Beirut's southern suburb of Shou Efat. This was the first strike to hit near Lebanon's capital in weeks. Earlier in the day, IDF jets hit the southern Lebanese village of Ain Kana, damaging several houses. Smoke was seen rising from the site after the attack. While Israel claims its strikes are directed at only Hezbollah, the ground reality is stark. The Lebanese army announced that a soldier named Ala Medlej was also killed in an Israeli airstrike. Emotions ran high today as a number of people joined his funeral procession.
This is the martyr of the homeland. We hold our heads high with pride because of him, God willing, and God willing, we will return victorious.
The same smartphone apps that people use every day for fitness, for maps and other things are now emerging as a major security threat on the modern battlefield. U.S. military officials have reportedly confirmed that American troops deployed in war zones have been targeted using commercially available location data raising concerns on how digital tracking tools can turn soldiers into easy targets for enemy surveillance and attacks. According to a letter shared with media agency Reuters by U.S. Senator Ron Wyden, U.S. Central Command said that it had received multiple threat reports about adversaries using commercial location data to track or surveil American personnel in active theaters of operation. The disclosure marks the first official confirmation that U.S. forces have been reportedly targeted in an active war zone using commercially available location data. CENTCOM did not disclose specific incidents, but its area of responsibility includes the Gulf region, where, remember, the U.S. forces continue to face heightened tensions with Iran, especially around the Strait of Hormuz. The letter reportedly warned that location data can reveal where troops gather, how they move, and their daily routines. U.S. military officials said enemies could use such information to plan missile strikes, drone attacks, roadside bombings, or counterintelligence operations. Now, this data often comes from smartphones, fitness apps, smartwatches, and other connected devices. U.S. lawmakers have reportedly criticized the Pentagon for not moving quickly enough to protect troops and urged the military to disable potential identifiers on official devices. The dangers of location identifiers in the ongoing military operations have already been a major issue. Back in 2016, a U.S. defense contractor used commercially available location data to track special operation forces moving from American bases to a sensitive staging post in Syria. While in 2018, a fitness app's public heat map exposed the locations of secret U.S. and allied military bases in Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan. Then in 2024, journalists from an American and 2 German media outlets analyzed billions of location coordinates obtained from a data broker and reportedly tracked movements around 11 U.S. military and intelligence facilities in Germany. During the Iran war in March then, a French officer reportedly exposed the location of the aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle after recording a 35-minute run on a fitness app while exercising on the ship's deck.